Hello, everybody. It is Sunday, the 1st of May. I want to talk about the idea that this is a simulation, and I want to talk about the ego and the intellect that is inside of this simulation. And they are actually, I've been using these two terms interchangeably, and they're not. They're actually two different things. They're two different states that you might be in. So this whole idea that this is a simulation, and something produced by some quantum computer, and that we are inside a program. Actually, that again makes you feel like you're in something that is out of your control. Somebody has written this program, and now you're in it, and you're imprisoned in this program, and that's it. And I don't think that is how it is, because I think the parts of the program, like ourselves, are the things that are writing the program. This program is writing itself. It is existing within consciousness, a field of consciousness, which has smaller parts of consciousness, like us. We are a small part of consciousness, self-conscious, and it is the self-conscious parts that write the program through interacting with each other by creating realities that then create outcomes, actions and outcomes that create new knowledge, that create new perceptions, that creates new worlds. So in the Bible, it started with one God, one consciousness, that then created other consciousnesses like him. So through the interactions of them came new ideas, new ways forward, creating new perceptions. Out of that came the knowledge of creating us, which is a completely different perception from them, which is now interacting in this world. And that is what is creating the program. It's kind of, you're in it and you're creating it. So you're not sat here like a puppet on a string, but you are creating in part what happens next. So it's a kind of a self-creating program. There may have been a seed planted at the very beginning, like the very first consciousness, but then it was said, run this program, create others, expand the program. But it's then the parts themselves that create the program. So that's the first thing I would say. And the next thing is, of course, that we think about this as a simulation because of this thought that this is not real. That, it's not solid, therefore it's not real. And there's a higher state, there's a higher state of you somewhere else. Again, this body is in this program, and your higher self is somewhere outside of this program. And again, that's the wrong perception. Your higher self is here. You are your higher self. Now, if you look at this pen, and the way you could describe it is you could describe it as plastic, black and white. But then, according to our knowledge, we know, well, what is plastic? Plastic is made out of certain molecules, yeah? The molecules are made out of atoms. The atoms are energy. So this pen is energy. Now, if I'm holding this pen and I'm holding plastic and the energetic form is somewhere else. No, I'm holding the energetic form. I'm just not seeing it. But I am holding it. It's right here. It is all those possibilities, but I'm only seeing one. I'm seeing the solid plastic. And it is the same with you. You see your solid form, but your energetic form is here. You are the energetic form. You're just not seeing it. So, which brings me to talking about the two states that we can be in, which is ego and intellect. And I said I was using them interchangeably, and they're actually two different states. The ego is the state of knowing. Yeah? So it's what we say, you are now the ego. You see yourself in this way, which is correct. Yeah? That is the ego. It is the state of I amness. I know what I am. So we know ourselves as a solid form. The intellect is the thing that is driving us forward into thinking, forward driving us into a different perspective through the gaining of knowledge. So in the Bible, that is the serpent that is snapping at the woman's heel. Yeah. So the woman is the ego, and it's doubt, information that sends her into a state of intellect, which means she's starting to question. But then where does this state take us to? I think what it does all the times, it takes us into a different perception, but that is a different egoic state. So we're going really from one egoic state through the time of flux into a new egoic state. Yeah. Now, and it's a bit of a catch-22, because if we're thinking of working this from a higher level, interacting with the all, we can actually only do that from an egoic state. Also, it seems when you read the texts. Yeah, it is out of a state of knowing, and that is knowing yourself, that you can actually interact with the all. So you need to be in an egoic state in order to do so, which is a bit of a catch-22. So at the moment, as I said, we are coming into a time of flux, because the egoic state we're in at the moment really does not serve us anymore. And we can see it as wrong, we see other possibilities, so not good enough. So what we're doing at the moment, and again, is we are looking at history, which it is opening the bottomless pit and resurrecting the dead. It really is that, because what we're looking at are dead egos of the past, people and cultures that saw themselves in a certain way, and by that had a completely different perception of what they were in and what they were doing. So if you look at the Gnostics, you're looking at an ego that saw itself in a certain way, and out of that it gained knowledge of interactions with the all, because it knew it could, because it saw itself that way. And we're looking at that now to see what were they thinking. So when you look at history, if you go back and look at history, don't look at the buildings or at the social structures or what, or the technology. What did they think they were? What was their religion? What was their spirituality? That is actually the knowledge you need to gain, because it is out of that they created everything that we can see now. That was the root of it. So we're trying to get some knowledge from the past, and we have an scientific understanding going forward. So we're bringing spirituality back to the intellect's knowing of how the scientific knowing of how this world is now. An old spiritual understanding onto a new scientific world, which gives, again, a new perception of us. And we might become new I ams. Now, as I said, the highest state would be the state of energy and vibration, which is here right now. This pen is in the energetic state, but the only way I can see it in that energetic state is if I see myself in that way. It is out of the perception of ourselves that we see everything else. So I cannot sit here in solid form and thinking I am solid form and expect to see the world as energy. Ain't gonna happen. Because you need to be in a state of I am in order to see and to interact. So where do we go next? As I said, we are in flux at the moment. We are in the intellect state. Out of one ego, gone into the intellect state. So where's the next resting place, so to speak? Where's the next egoic state that we can rest in for a while and then work it to see what it actually does? And to me, to go up to, it's all energy and vibration. We're nowhere near there. We're not, it's like, I'm an infant, and yeah, I'm going to be a fully grown up. There are several states in between that you should probably must go through. You must get the knowledge of those stages in order to reach the last one. So we're nowhere near there. So, but what is the next stage that we can see right now? And that is becoming aware of our energies, the energies of our thoughts and the energies of our emotions, and seeing that the impact, that they create outcomes. Still being in the solid world, but the world is becoming slightly less solid, because we know we can change things. Yeah. To me, that would be the next step into an energetic form. And that is being aware of two of our energies and know that they can interact, have an impact on matter. Still thinking of it as matter and changing matter. But what we're actually doing is energy, and impacting on energy is obviously what we are doing, but one step at a time. So if we could even become that state, where we know it is the power of prayer, really, where we know that, and that we can influence what we see as solid world through energy, that would bring us to one higher state than what we are in now. And to me, that would be the way. The other thing I was thinking of, and that is, the whole thing is really a bit of a catch-22. Because if you can only, it seems that you can only interact with the all from an egoic state, from a state of I am. I know. This is what I am. And it seems we are going into egoic states and we stay in them until the whole thing goes belly up. And only then do we wake up and again go into the intellect to find a new state. So is there a way, and that is a bit strange, is there a way where we can go into an egoic state knowing that that is not all, but just for now? This is it for now. I mean, if you say you need to be 100%, can you make yourself into 100% for a short period of time, whilst knowing in all the other times that you are not? So that is that you can fluctuate between the ego and the intellect, and you're never stuck in an ego, I say, until the whole thing goes belly up. You kind of should snap out of it before that. So there's a question, if we can somehow achieve that. Become an I am, and being able to go in and out of that state all the time, so that we can correct mistakes as we go along through interacting on an energetic level. Well, that's the thing. Can we do that, or do we need to become an ego and forget that anything else exists and have to be stuck in this thing until, as I said, things go belly up again and we wake up again because we must? Well, that's my question. I don't know. So I think I leave it at this for now. But the real thing is when we talk about, these our energies changing reality, what we must change first of all is the view of ourselves. As I said, we cannot see the world as energy whilst thinking ourselves solid form. And in the end, we are not changing reality. Reality is energy, right here, right now. This pen is in its energetic form as I'm holding it. But in solid form thinking, I'm describing it as plastic. But in order to change what we see outside of ourselves, we must change how we see ourselves first. And then is how far can we go in our thinking? How far should we go ahead in our thinking? How much can we handle? How much change can we handle? That's a good question. How much change can we handle? So, as I said, thinking of just our two energies and that they're working something, interacting with us, other energies, creating new realities, I think that is a big step to take, and that will take us a lot further. And then, as I said, do we have to forget once we're in that state? Do we have to forget how the whole thing works? Maybe we need to leave notes for ourselves again. Write it all down now and bury it somewhere so that we can find it again whenever the whole thing goes belly up next. I don't know. Anyway, I leave it at that for now, and I talk to you again soon. Bye.